there to you much.
It's Joe Gatto and my friend
Steve Byrne.
And we are the Two Cool Moms.
We are the Two Cool Moms.
Boom, boom. Thank you so much for listening. Guys, we want to address something right at the top. We know there's a lot.
There's a buzz.
There's a buzz swirling around about it. Yes.
We got to set the record straight.
We need to set it straight, okay? Steve and I are not mothers. So,
there you go.
That's it. That's it. We both had two cool moms and decided to call it, this is an homage.
An homage. An homage.
An homage. That was the best thing you've ever said. Let's wrap this episode up. I want to end on a high note.
That was bazonkers. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Rate, review, subscribe.
And homage is so fantastic. Oh, it's like watching your little kid ride a bike for the first time.
I learned from you, Dad. Mom.
Great.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good day. I'm excited about today.
You raised a lot of money recently.
I did raise a lot of money for some puppies.
For some puppies. Now, can you walk me through it? What is the foundation and what?
Well, the Gatto Pups and Friends is my
that's yours. You
mine,
partner with,
and I work with this company, Animal Haven, which great people. I got my favorite rescue out of there. Don't tell the others, but my girl Biscotti came out of there. Animal Haven's in New York City. They're a fantastic organization, and they have a big gala. So every year I storm the stage to take over the paddle race.
Little chaos.
Because I like to cause a little chaos. Not part of any gala. Have you ever been to like a fundraising kind of gala event or a fun thing where they have like you have to raise the paddles and people like
I'm sure I've been
wants
one
to
or
give.
two, but
so I found myself in New York being that guy. Like a bunch. I go to a lot of charity events for dogs and whatnots. I'm actually doing it in a week or two for Daniel's Music Foundation, one of my favorite charities here in New York. And I storm the castle. I get up there and I start making it fun because it's such a. People get so monotonous about it. They actually hire people like Sotheby's auctioneers and stuff to do it. And I'm like, why? Like you should have entertainers doing it.
Yeah,
it should be a little bit more like that. So
because you get right to the nitty gritty.
I get right to it. And I have fun though. I mean, I make it a fun thing to give the money because they'll be like, "Do we have $10,000? Yes, $10,000. Thank you very much." Number 463. I'm pointing and shooting, air humping up there. I'm doing a cartwheel. I tried to take my jacket off. I was too fat. I couldn't get it off.
This is how we do it.
I'm doing it. I'm pointing and shooting. I'm twisting. I'm turning. It's a good time. I think it's a lot of fun. So we raised some money there. It was great, helping dogs out. But Gatto Pups and Friends is now taking the next step up. It's funny, I wore the shirt on a different episode, didn't talk about it, but now we're actually doing adoptions, which is so much fun because we're actually we've actually like graduated to the next level, not just helping dogs in our home, but helping dogs find homes, and that's been really fun. So do you need a dog?
We've been through this. My dream is to get that Australian like shepherd dog. I don't know why.
Can I interest you in a blind Yorkie? Because I got him in spades.
Well, my friends, Two Tree Hill. I don't know if you heard of this duo in New York City. They did one of the funniest sketches I've ever seen. They're two guys. They make all these tunes and stuff. Follow them on TikTok, whatever. They're fantastic.
Two Tree Hill?
Two Tree Hill. I met them in Carolina years ago. Just really, really creative guys. They did a video where one of them got like the contact lenses so his eyes looked blurred. Yeah. And they did a sketch where it's like a dog's last days. And the blind dog, and it can't find the food. It's like going all over the place. It's just dumping all over, running into walls and stuff. It was just really, really done in like a fun, cute kind of way where the owner loves his dog.
Yeah,
and it's
like,
oh, Sparky.
I thought you were going to flip it. I thought it was going to be really funny. And this is a funny idea for a sketch was if a dog adopted a blind human. And it was like, this is my owner. He was explaining all the dogs at the dog park. He was like, this is what I got. Yeah, we took care of him. We want to give him some good last days.
So you have how many dogs you're up to right now?
The number always fluctuates, but we've always got a bunch that we're going through.
See, you and Gary Cannon, another great comic out of L.A., you guys would get along famously. I know you've been around each other, you've hung out, but you never really, you never really,
human,
like talk. But that's his big thing.
Real piece of shit. Yeah,
huge.
Gary Cannon,
huge piece of shit. Yeah. But he's always doing things in Los Angeles in the area. He's constantly posting about dogs that need to be adopted before, in L.A. especially, they're overrun. And so they're euthanizing these dogs. And he's like, please, somebody say, he makes it like a personal crusade.
That's amazing.
And
I love Gary Cannon. We've had some good times together, me and Gary. When we taped your special, that's available on Amazon Prime.
Amazon
Prime.
It's Amazon.
I almost said Amazon.com.
Dipshit. That's how it's pronounced. You don't know how to pronounce Amazon?
Amazon.com. I put .com and Prime together. It came out Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Check it out. The Last Late Night.
The Last Late
Love
Night.
it.
By the way, I posted something recently. I've had people over the years, obviously, Sullivan and Son was a show. You were kind enough to repost, but somebody pointed out to me you can request it on HBO Max because it's a Warner property. So Warner TV owns Sullivan and Son, and it's not available anywhere. AAPI month, not available. You would think it's a second Asian sitcom. It should be somewhere. So you could request it on HBO Max. There's a link on my Twitter, but you go to HBO Max.
We'll put a link in the description of this episode, too.
Yeah.
Scroll down, click and do it.
Scroll down, click it. You just write in Sullivan and Son as a request, and I heard through back channels it's possible. They'll if enough people ask for it,
great.
They'll search it out, and it's a Warner property, so
why not?
They don't have to. I don't think they have to.
It was a funny show too, man.
It was fun, yeah.
Don't talk bad about it.
No, I
Don't you dare talk bad about it. I mean, it's great. You know what's, I was trying to find some stuff. It's so funny how easily you could find things too, because I was trying to think of something that I had seen when I was a child that I remembered watching on Showtime as a comedy special.
Right.
And all I remember is that it was a guy in an apartment by himself who had to get work done, but he kept distracting himself. It was a one-man show. And I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, what the hell was this? And I Googled it, and I was able to find it. And then I was thinking,
who was it?
I forget now. I'd have to find it again. But it's amazing. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, you have to realize the accessibility that we have is unbelievable to find anything from nostalgia.
Anything.
Then you could go right down to rabbit holes of just watching stuff. I was watching
because somebody else has had the same exact thought.
Exactly. You've never had an original.
They're going to find it. Yeah.
You've never had an original Google search. Do you know that? Do you know that? You've never had an original Google search. You were never the first person to Google something.
Right.
Think about that for a second.
But who is
somebody else? Right?
Huh. I bet you could ask ChatGPT who was the first, and it could find it for you.
It probably could. You're right, actually.
Yeah.
That's a good use of it.
Have you used it yet?
No.
You haven't used it?
No, I can't. Religious reasons.
Pretty fascinating.
Religious reasons. I'm sorry. Can't do it. The prophet says no. I don't know. You liked it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
we
amazing.
talked about how it made the weird Disney people stuff too.
It is amazing though.
You know, I'm trying to think, like, everybody's equating Chat GPT. Do you remember, like, whenever anything comes new, and this is the first thing that popped in my mind, my mother wouldn't get a microwave.
Really?
No, you're not gonna make my house nuclear. That's what my mother used to say. Oh no, we reheat things though in the stove and the oven with gas.
Right.
We're not going to make things nuclear. That's what she said. And you know what turned it on her?
What?
Microwave popcorn. She loved microwave popcorn to the day she died. I think she died of radiation poisoning. But anyway, isn't that amazing? Like she thought when the microwave came out, she was like, "No, we're not."
Well, remember cell phones? You're going to fry your brain.
Yeah, don't keep it in your pocket. You're going to get yourself ball cancer.
Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Never happened.
Is that? Did your mom have a fear of anything in the house? Any adjustment? Oh, your parents? Any adjustment to technology?
I don't think so. No. I mean, very slow to it. Yeah, for sure.
My dad used an adding machine for a long time.
Really?
You know, like one of those at the house. He had the roll of paper.
My dad's like you. He's like a mathlete.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
He can just crunch numbers. I'll tell you the thing about my folks is that no sense of home decor. No sense of
much like
decor.
our set.
Much like our set. I mean, I would think my mom would be the set designer. I mean, you'd walk in our house, it's just like, what is this? It doesn't. None of it makes sense.
Yeah. Where does the decor? Is there?
I think they go to a showroom and be like, oh, okay, this is your profession. Yeah, we'll just do that. Like Sears has the set, we'll do it. Yeah.
But they bought everything, including the vase that's on the table. My mom used to. They were like, oh, we're gonna get we'll get this bedroom set. Yeah, we'll take everything that they put in the store. They just took that store show set and put it in the room in the house. That's crazy.
And the dining room did not match the living room. Like it did none of it. And classic plastic wrapping on the furniture, except for when people come over. We never even use that room.
My mom. Okay, so here's this is something to make fun of me about. But my mom, she collected precious moments. You know those little
figurines.
Right, the figurines. Yeah. She collected them. My sister collected them, and my other sister collected them. It was the thing they were doing together.
Joe?
I got jealous. And I was like, Mom, It wasn't precious moments, don't worry. I was like, Mom, I don't have anything to put in the curio cabinet. We had this big curio cabinet, which is just like a glass cabinet where you display all the precious moments. And my sister had a shelf, my other sister had a shelf, and my mom had the top. And I was like, I don't have anything in the curio cabinet. She's like, we'll find you something to get into. So I got the Chronicles of Christonia.
Excuse me?
The Chronicles of Christonia.
What is that?
So they're basically like little trolls that are precious moments.
Can I see this? Can I see this if it's possible?
Chronicles of Christonia.
How old are you?
I am 11, 12, of age where I shouldn't be collecting Christonians. KRYS. Yeah.
How were you even introduced to this stuff?
My mom found it because there was a local like Hallmark store, you know, where a local
your
store.
mom's sweet. So
and she was like
looking for.
She's like, what do you have for fucking dumb 12-year-old boys? So, click that middle one, the World of Christonia. Go there. So this is what I was. These are my boys.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, I had. I still have, by the way.
No.
Still have them. I should autograph them and sell them.
Joe.
They are.
Joe, we need set deck. We need set deck.
I'm going to bring in
What are these called again?
Chronicle of Christonias.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's how much they're worth?
That's for the whole set.
Come on.
That's for the whole set. So they were like, you know, back in the day where they were like $20 each. I remember that pirate one. He was great. My favorite was this little dude on the bottom here, the little dragon fella.
What are they called? Chronicles
of Christonia. That guy right down one in the middle there. Oh, I loved him. Yep, that guy. He was favorite.
They do look fun.
They're fun, but they're like action figures that are frozen. They're just little statues, and they each had their own little story that they came with. And then if you collected enough, you could mail in to get a key, which was a wooden key. Yeah, they all had their own little stories. That's it.
The Chronicles of Christonia.
Is there a game surrounding it, or no, just
nothing.
display purposes only?
Display purposes only.
Polly Pocket in it.
It's not Polly Pocket. It's the opposite.
There's no play set?
It's precious moments with dragons. Like, that's what it is. They all had a story, like there'd be a mother dragon and a baby dragon, like with the same sort of thing, like love comes from the mom. Like, you know, things like that. It's crazy. So that was, and so to get into the home decor thing, I designed my shelf in the curio cabinet. I went and got felt from Michael's. I went and got felt. I bought jewels.
Mom, this is the moat.
I bought the jewels that like you put in like a fish tank design like that, and I poured them amongst the floor.
Dude, I would
do it,
love
whatever.
to see little Joey.
Oh, I was having. I put
in his
like
corduroys.
I made like little layers with like I wrapped in tin foil. I wrapped shoe boxes in little boxes, and I make layers and whatnot, like castle. My dad would just come home and watch me, be like, "Hey, Dad," and he'd be so disappointed.
Winners
like,
surround themselves with winners.
I'm like,
son.
I have no friends. I don't know why. He's like, nobody's into collectible dragon.
But have you met Froggy?
You look at Frugal. He's the best. Here's his story. Yeah. So,
wow,
that was crazy.
We're always learning.
Always learning.
Always learning. Most kids are playing G.I. Joe.
Nope.
You got your He-Man.
I'm into Christonians. Big time.
Wowie.
Big time.
Well, can we go to Hallmark?
Saving money to go to the Hallmark store to get a Christonian.
The Hallmark. I can't remember the last time I even went to a Hallmark store.
Probably when you needed a card.
Can't remember last time.
We don't send many cards.
Well, here we go.
Let's get out there and help some people.
Here we go. Okay, let's see here. This is coming to us from Nicole. I believe this question is geared for you.
You think so? Why is it about Christonians?
Can you come to Vancouver?
I did. You missed it. I was there 3 months ago.
By the way, this is literally every comedian. Every comedian says this, and I'm working on something that's gonna solve this problem with my good friend Danny Frankel. But every comic, you will get, like, I was just in Dallas.
Yeah.
I'll literally post, "Hey, I'm going to Hawaii next week. When are you coming to Dallas?" I was just in Dallas.
How about this?
I posted 8 times.
Hey, I had something to do that night. I can't make it. Come back to Austin. I love that. Hey, I wanted to see you in Orlando, but I couldn't come. Come back to Orlando. Sorry, you had to you had to go.
Or you get you were just in Idaho. Can you come to Miami? It's like, what? It doesn't make sense.
You don't like Idaho. I don't like it. It's a big country.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you were just there.
Literally just in Vancouver. Yeah, we're at the end of actually this next week. I'll be. Oh no, it'll probably be last week. It depends on when we air this. But I'm going up to Canada. So come see me in Canada, or I hope you saw me in Canada.
Yeah. Well, you'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go.
I'm all over
once a year. Yeah. Okay. This is coming to us from Joe. Joe asks, "Hey, Mama Dilfs." You are my heroes.
That's amazing.
I know you told us what your superpowers would be, but what would your comedic superpowers be? Keep on trucking. A comedic superpower.
Mine would be the power of pratfall, for sure.
That is your superpower.
That is my superpower.
You have that.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that's what she meant. Or does she mean if I could have any superpower
Any
comedically?
superpower.
Any superpower comedically? Well, I mean just be able to make anyone laugh. You'd wait. You
already have that.
That's true too. It's true too.
Yeah,
I guess I'm perfect.
You must be hard. It's got to be hard pressed for you though. Obviously, you have super fans, and then they bring their friends. Sometimes I think you could pick up on that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But when you're doing that, like I always make it a mission. I'm like, I will break you.
Yeah,
I will break you. Do you have that, or do you clock?
I do.
People
I
that
clock. Sometimes I see people aren't having a good time, and I'll catch it, and then it'll catch your eye. The worst was when I was on stage with people because some of my friends would be hyper focused on that one person, and actually it would throw them off. Yeah, and I would have to talk them out of it. I would like stop looking at them. Like I'd switch spots with people. Have you ever had a show where I switched spots with somebody? It's because they had to get away from somebody in the crowd that they couldn't stop looking at.
Oh, wow.
Because at our shows, there's 4 across, and you're playing to a smaller amount, right? Because in our show, in a stand-up show, you've seen me doing stand-up. I'm a panther up there. I'm all over the place. But when we're doing, you had your assigned spot, so you're playing to the 40 people in front of you,
right?
80 people in front of you. So you're hyper focused. It's a way smaller crowd in this big theater, in this big, whatever it is, arena or whatnot. And then you just watch them. And I remember when we played MSG, I saw a guy and his wife. I assumed it was his wife, and then she was like losing it, and he was just not having it, and he was just was like in it, and I was like, and I was building this whole backstory in my head. It's like he's probably worried about parking. They probably got in a fight where they were late or whatnot, blah blah blah. And then finally, I did something, and he just went, and that was enough for me. And I was like, got him.
Yeah.
Boom. Good night.
One of my favorites was because I think we're both very impulsive. We like a little chaos.
Sure.
There was one show we did where usually and this is. There's full disclosure. I mean, if you've been to one of Joe's shows, and I happen to be on, everybody knows this. When you're finishing your show, it's kind of that's it, because you want to do the meet and greet and you want to get something to eat afterwards. Because usually you don't even get to order your dinner. You don't even get to eat it until the end.
Yeah.
On a handful of occasions, I've had a few in me, and I will come out.
Storm the castle.
I'll storm the castle, and there's been 1 or 2 times you're like, no. And I'm like, okay, received, walk right back out. But there was one time I came out, and then you jumped in the crowd, then I jumped in the crowd, and we went left and right, and then I saw you going left, and I was like, well, I'll go over here, and I'll circle. And then you brought somebody on stage, and I said, fuck it. And I ran upstairs, and I was in the top, and we're doing crowd work. You're down here. I'm up there.
Yeah, I was in from the stage, and you were in the
fun.
balcony. That was awesome.
That was a lot
really
of fun.
That
was one of my favorite like crowd work moments of being on tour with you. It was great. But again, it's just I think you're clocking things. Oh, he left. I was gonna shit on him. I was like, my comedic superpower to be to do a comedy show and cook at the same time.
Jiggy, he left. You felt it coming.
Jiggy, tastes funny. End of July, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is coming to us from James. James simply says, "Can I make art for your podcast?"
Yeah,
James,
sure. We love fan art. We
That'd
get a
be cool,
bunch of fan art.
And you've posted before. I think I posted.
I just commissioned my first piece, by the way.
Did you really?
I found somebody who made a pretty cool picture of one of my dogs, and I was like, "Hey, could you make my 2 favorite dogs, Biscotti and Spumoni?" And she made them like digital artwork of them cuddling on a couch with a heart pillow. She took my instruction well. I did a couple of revisions, and I'm actually sent it out to get printed to hang in my home.
Wow, that's pretty
pretty
awesome.
cool, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm big. I love because I'm not very artistic. Are you artistic? Could you?
I used to love to draw.
Oh, yeah?
That was like when I was a kid, I would draw constantly. I loved doodling. And I actually thought about it like as a profession, kind of like in high school.
Really?
I dabbled about
Illustrate.
it. Yeah. I loved it.
If I could have a talent, any talent, it would be to draw. It would be to draw, hands down. Over music or anything like that, I'd want to be able to draw.
I'll tell you who everybody should follow. There's a great comic. He's new to the scene, out of Chicago, Jason Seiler. I believe I'm saying his last name right. Sieler. Jason Seiler. He's done cover art for Mad Magazine. He's done Man of the Year or Person of the Year for Time Magazine, I think 2 or 3 times. He's unbelievable.
Really?
Incredibly talented. And he just started doing comedy. But follow his artwork. He did the artwork for the opening act, where I had caricatures of everybody on that poster.
Yeah.
But I reached out to him just because I saw his work, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm a big comedy fan." I'm like, "Would you do an opening act poster of all these people?" And he did it within like 2 or 3 weeks. It's
amazing.
Unbelievable. And uncanny how he got everybody's, but he could go realistic or he could do anything. He's painted everywhere. He's painted the Pope. He's
really
the Pope. He did. I mean, just go down the rabbit hole on his stuff. He's incredibly talented. Yeah, and you'll see the difference between like, oh wow, I sometimes you see something you're like, I could never do that.
Yeah.
Like you look at his artwork, and there have been times he's posted stuff. I'm like, oh, it's a cool picture. It's like, no, he painted it.
Oh wow, that's great.
Painted it.
Yeah. That's art's good that way.
Do you have anything on Jason, or you can take a peek see on his stuff?
Holy cow! Really? That's crazy.
There's and look at that.
That's a drawing.
It looks
that's
realistic.
a drawing. Why? Because Because why? The Pope doesn't show up in photos. that's odd. Why'd they draw him?
Literally painted to look like a photo, but
it's amazing.
Yeah, and he could do caricatures. He can do hyper realistic.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, put some up in the app. We'll take it so people see them. That's cool.
And it's funny. I did his podcast, and what he has all these other friends that are artists, and he asked them, "All right, everybody do a rendition of Steve." And so I had like 15 different versions of me that he had sent me from all his artist friends, and they were unbelievably talented.
So all their art friends just sat around and you were their muse.
I was their muse.
You're
yes.
amusing. They just sat around and did it.
Yeah, I would want to like lay on like a sheet and like have some grapes in my lap and just be semi-partially nude and just sit there for 6 hours.
What's stopping you? We could set up Patreon right now.
I would love to do a podcast where you draw me during the podcast and then I draw you.
That's so fun. That's so fun. We should.
For a podcast, all right?
We should.
All right. Let's do it.
For the show Dinner Party, one of my favorite things I ever did was we challenged ourselves. We used to give each other a task. During COVID, we had the show. It was probably my favorite thing we've ever done together. It was called Dinner Party. It was a great show. And it was Sal had given us the task to do a self-portrait over a week. And we all did a self-portrait of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we had to reveal it
on the
to
show
each other, and it got rated by Mariano Rivera, who
no
had the
way,
worst
really?
Self-portrait. Yeah, and Mer's self-portrait was the worst. But Sal was like, guys, seriously, try to do it, to do it, and mine came okay.
That's what I like about Sal is when he is committed to a task, he's very, very committed to a task. He takes no matter how silly or mundane it is, he takes
the sillier and more mundane. I feel like the more committed,
the more serious he gets about it. Yeah, which is okay. It's coming to us from Brenda. My 12-year-old son and I listen to the podcast when we take long drives from Northern to Southern California. He loves comedy, but obviously some content leans towards a bit too mature for him. Can you recommend any comics that are appropriate for tweens? Note, I'm a Gen Xer, so he's seen a lot of 80s movies, so in no way is he sheltered. Thanks, Tio's mom. Well, I would think Jim Gaffigan comes to mind.
For sure.
Brian Regan comes to mind.
Regan, I was going to say.
Gabriel Iglesias comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be kind of like my top three. Look, Sebastian Maniscalco.
Dice.
Tracy Morgan.
Yeah. Even Sebastian.
Sebastian. You could have him listen to that. What else do you think? Nate.
Yep.
Absolutely. You could listen to Nate. Dusty Slay.
Dusty's another one.
Dusty's a great, clean comic. Smart.
I don't know.
Greg Warren comes to mind.
I don't know Greg Warren.
Greg's great. Guy out of the Midwest.
I think probably hang out in the Midwest is really what we're saying.
That's right.
Stay away from the coasts.
Stay away from the coast. Yeah.
Pretty much,
don't listen to. But
podcasts are tricky because podcasts are just basically known for just being where it's people talking. You're going to talk about everything and anything.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for straight up comic material, I think it's way more easy searchable and won't slide into that because when people know they're presenting their comedy, I think it has a different feel. I know for me personally, like when we're on here, like I say a lot of stuff in here that I wouldn't necessarily say on stage, but not even that I wouldn't say it, but I'm not thinking about it as much.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna say this part or whatever or things. So I think it just has different things when it comes to podcasts. But as far as that goes, yeah, I think for comedy, stick in the Midwest, you'll be okay.
Yeah, you could even go. You could go back in the catalog. Like Richard Jeni comes to mind. Dana Carvey comes to mind.
Tim Allen,
old stuff. And then look, I think It's funny. I was talking to a few comics the other night. Rodney Dangerfield, all his stuff still holds up. I mean, it is rapid fire. It's so funny. It's like gut-bustingly funny.
Yeah.
Go down a YouTube rabbit hole and type in Dangerfield, and you'll see Dangerfield cracks up Carson on the Tonight Show. And what's crazy about when Dangerfield would do those sets, he'd come out, he'd do an 8-minute set, and this is the day and age when entertainment was communal.
Yep.
Everybody knew Dangerfield. Dangerfield comes up. His setups are getting, my Dr. Vinny Boom Bots. People are whooping and hollering. They can't wait to hear this run of jokes about the doctor. And then he does his, 6-minute set, and then he goes over and does another 10 minutes
on the couch,
sweating, drenched in sweat. And you watch him, and he is just on a full clip, and you'll see the ebbs and flows of the set because he's doing it, and in the middle, it'll go down. And it's all... I don't think people realize it's all orchestrated to be like a roller coaster. And then he'll come up out of the lull and end on a high. Yeah. And you see Carson just bowling over in tears in some of the clips. It's so funny. One of my favorites was he took his girl. He's like, oh, this girl, she's ugly, but I took her fishing. And all the other guys on the dock are like, hey, Ronnie, what bait did you use? It's like, I'm butchering the joke, but it was like, oh, my God. He's like, my daughter, I'm not going to say she gets around, but her senior picture, she was horizontal. It's like, Jesus. And they're just so quick and just rapid fire. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there is comedy to be found. I just be careful in podcast arenas.
Yeah,
I find that this podcast more lean. I think that's what everybody tries to do. Annoyingly so. Sometimes it's like, what are we gonna, Sometimes it's funny. Like you'll watch a podcast and people be having like a real conversation, and then the podcast host will just like try to push it back towards. It's not. They feel like it's not edgy enough. I get that vibe sometimes on it.
You know what? I'll tell you this. I've done recently a few other podcasts that are big or whatever, and you sit
and then ours.
You sit there as a guest, and there have been a handful of occasions where I'm like, do you need me here?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, why even have me?
Yeah, that's...
it's to me that's odd.
Sometimes I feel that way when I watch late night TV, late night talk show.
Dude.
Not every interview, but some interviews. It's like people are tuning in also to watch the person that you brought on. Like I feel like that sometimes. That happens. But yeah, I mean, that on a podcast is tough. I mean, you're somebody, especially if you're going out of your way to come and be a guest on there, bring eyeballs to their thing.
Right,
people
are
coming to watch
the favor by giving you the platform, which you appreciate.
But it's a give and take,
This is odd.
But any conversation to feel like you're not needed, podcast or not, being filmed or not.
Sure.
Just as like, ugh.
Well, I'll tell you, that's I think there's something to it. Now that I think about it, I think there's something to this industry in particular, the entertainment industry, and being in Los Angeles. Because I think when you're there, you're kind of hyper aware. I think people are just, I don't mean to be rude, but they're just a little more selfish. I remember I was talking to a friend I hadn't seen in 2 years. I hadn't seen because I moved to Nashville, and just by the way the scheduling works, I hadn't seen this individual in 2 years at the Comedy Store. I walk up, I go, hey, how you doing? He goes, killing it. I go, oh, good. He's like, yeah, on tour with so-and-so, opening for so-and-so. Doing my own show at the rock venue down the street. Couldn't be better. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, that's great, man. I'm really happy for you. And in the back of my head, I'm like, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah.
You fucking dipshit.
Yeah.
Like, can we not have a real connection?
Yeah,
like, I haven't even seen you in 2 years. And I'm acknowledging that. He's like, all right, got to go up. And it's just like, I think that microcosm of an interaction, that is genuinely how it really is on a grand scale out there in that town. It does something to people, and it's kind of a shame. It bums me out.
I feel like that was something I had to be conscious of when people are like, oh, what's new with you? Because there's a time in my life where I was able to rattle off all these ridiculous, amazing things that are going on.
Right.
It's like, and then you feel like, oh, like I don't want to be like, but people genuinely want to hear about it and whatnot. I think that was the best thing that happened with Jokers, is that it was happening with my friends, so you didn't have to brag about it to anybody.
Right,
your friends were living it with you.
Right.
And I'll say that all the time. Like that is, I think, what kept us so grounded together was like, oh, nobody's head got big or anything because we're all on the same ride. As many fans as one person had, somebody else had. As many, it was never like that. We always supportive and tried to help each other and whatnot, make people's sets better on the show, like give each other tags on when we're doing our live show. Say this instead, it's funnier. Watch your timing here, things things like that. It really was a cohesive unit. But I do think when I was talking to anybody that I hadn't seen, especially when I became in the public eye, and I'd go out and I'd see people like in a grocery store, like, oh my God, how are you? And I had just come from playing Radio City Musical.
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
Good. You know, like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, I just came from a soccer game. You know, it's hard to like, connect with people that way. So I was always very conscious of that, and I pride myself on trying to remember that, keep that human aspect, and I think that helps with getting famous older.
Yeah.
you know,
I think there's a better perspective
of it all, right?
But also, like, you never want to complain to somebody who's, I hate to say it, but like less successful.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh my God, here I'm bitching about this, and this
Right.
guy's just trying to get like a headlining weekend somewhere.
I said
It's
I'm
like,
sorry. I said I'm sorry. I don't know how many times you want me to apologize. Okay, buddy?
Believe me, I've been there.
Stop it, Steven. Don't
Okay.
you dare. 5 specials.
Okay,
I dare
hold
you
on.
to
Here
try. I dare you to tell me someone else.
This is coming to us from, I don't even know how to say this. D New. I'm not going to say the last name, but
Who knew?
D New.
Do you know?
something.
Who knew
Okay.
it? Who?
DNEW.
Do you know? Yeah. I told him about it. He knew.
You love it.
He's always guilty. He's always guilty. They get pulled in after a scam after a heist. He'd be like, listen, D knew.
Hey, two cool moms.
Hi, Dino.
I have a dilemma. I'm 21 and just started college, and a lot of my friends went straight out of high school and already graduated. So starting 4 years late. I'm telling the mathlete, the math on that. I just finished my freshman year in psychology. My ultimate goal is to become a therapist or a psychologist. I am worried I should have stayed in trade, like carpentry, so I won't be drowning in student loans, or worried if I won't get paid as much as a skilled carpenter. Thanks for making me laugh.
Regret seems to be Dinu's overall thing.
Yeah, I think he did a smart thing by taking that
100%.
time to kind of. You can get a degree at any age.
Yeah.
And just life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Your friends finished first. It's okay.
Yeah.
And you're
But
getting
finished what, though?
exactly
Right? You know what I mean? Like, what they got their degree. Okay. Now
He
what?
didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought D knew.
He did knew. I told him about it. D knew there was going to be issues when you take the year. I talked to him. I was like, you know this is going to happen. He's like, D knew. Yeah, D knew. He knew. I mean, this is the way it works out. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the first problem is look at where you're looking at it from. Are you looking at it from you missed out or they missed out?
Right.
Right? You had those years where you weren't in college and living life.
Right.
What are you trying to get to? Now it looks like you're seeming like, I mean, we always talk about this, a recurring theme on here. You can't regret your journey in the way where you've ended up because that'll just drive you insane. There's always so many different things you could have done better, worse, different, whatever.
Well, I'll say this to you. I think we were kind of late bloomers, right?
What?
I think with.
Sorry.
What was this?
This is my penis.
Oh, that's going to stay in?
This is just a
So that gets to stay in.
If you didn't ask me what
And
it
all the
was.
things- I want that in it. No, keep it in. Keep it in.
I didn't say my penis. You made me say my penis. I was like, do you know this is my penis?
Joe, this finger.
You're right.
So, and that'll get cut out. But
Thanks for listening to Two Cool Moms. I've been Joe Gatto.
solid as a rock.
No, we got time.
Oh,
We got time.
okay.
I'm just kidding.
We've look, we've all had friends that I think when you're like 21, 22, they got married, they got kids, and you're watching, it's like, maybe I should get married.
Yeah.
And I've been on the road. I catch up with those people like, I got married way too young. I had kids way too young. I'm glad I had kids later in life because I'm so much more mature. I have a better perspective of at least my life.
What's important.
And what I could relate to them in terms of like mapping things out and trying to help them along the way.
You've made more mistakes, right? You've done way
more mistakes.
You
and
learned
I think,
more.
You know, it's like, yeah, just chill. It's fine. It's going to be okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
You can't look at it from that way. So now it seems like what Dinu is battling is his path forward.
Yes.
Right. So now the only thing he can do is make his best decision, what he feels is best. There's no right answer to it. There could be pros and cons for either way, getting a craft or not or whatnot. It's just really, okay, you're in your driver's seat of your life. Where are you going? This is up to you.
Right. D thought he knew, but now he knows.
No, he now
knows.
D knows.
He's got to change it to D knows.
He knows. He
Yeah.
should. If he doesn't change his user handle to D knows, I don't know what more we could do for this person.
That's right. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we did it again.
We
Joe.
did it, buddy.
We
We-
did it. We keep. God, we keep doing it.
Week after week, we keep doing. No one's
We never get
asking for it,
exhausted.
and we keep doing it.
Nobody's ever said I need your advice. Not once.
Not once.
I'm not qualified at all.
We don't know.
Thank you.
Peace out.
These mommies love you, so show us some love.
Please rate us and review us, follow us on all social media, and subscribe to our YouTube.